copy of, Dory has copies of everything. You wanna,
I printed mine.
okay. Does everybody have a copy of the draft of the amendments?
Zoning amendments?
Yeah.
Yes. 6 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 6:32, and I'm calling the meeting to order. The Tuesday, January 12th, 2016, Tilton Planning Board. And let's try to get everybody and get us out as quickly as possible, because I guess it is getting bad.
Well, you gotta watch out for that public, for this hearing.
Yeah, right.
I thought there was
Somebody go on for hours.
Actually, I'm your backup. If you keel over, I could slide right in the seat.
Well,
Now
we'll
we
just-
tell
and
Mrs.
if-
Thomas to
And
stay.
if you keel over, we'll just
Yeah,
slide
but if
you
she
next
didn't
door.
show up, we don't
Yeah,
have a
just roll me
quorum.
over that
Just
way.
roll you over that way.
I'll crawl the rest of the
All
way.
right, you have in front of you the copies of the zoning amendments for review, and these will be in the town clerk's office. Amendment 1 is prepared by the planning board, and why don't we just go down and read these aloud, and then we can, is it appropriate for us to vote on each one of them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Amendment 1. I will read that. That's the effect of the proposed amendment would be to revise Article 11.12.5 variance to require that approved variances be exercised within 2 years of the approval date as set forth in New Hampshire RSA 674:33, 1 -A, little a. Any discussion?
I make a motion that the planning board propose amendment number 1 as drafted, go forward for legislative approval at the 2016 town meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right.
And I don't know, I'm gonna be putting in the notice, the minutes that you, Chairman Alden observed that there was no public
No public,
available to
right.
make comment, okay? Just so
There's
it's clear that.
only the
I'm
alternate.
public.
All you
Okay,
have to do
okay.
is open the hearing.
Technically, although if she keels,
I mean, she
in lieu
should
of
make,
that, I'm the
she
public.
should make a motion.
I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Opposed?
Then you just close it when we're
We'll
done.
close it when we're through, okay. You wanna do amendment 2, and then I'll hand me that on cheat sheet.
Amendment number 2, as prepared by the planning board, is the effect of the proposed amendment would be to revise Article 11.10 bed and breakfast to clarify that permission to operate a bed and breakfast shall be obtained through a special exception, and to establish that the special exception approvals for operation of bed and breakfast shall run with the land.
Any discussion? Comment? Public?
I'm just wondering if that shall run with the land is in perpetuity.
Yep.
So that 25 years from now, even though the surrounding neighborhood has changed, they still could, all of a sudden say, yep, I can have a bed and breakfast here. And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Well, to the extent that it would then have to, if you're saying the zoning changed in that area?
Yeah.
That didn't allow it, then they'd have the non-conforming use and the non-conforming use laws would apply, wouldn't they?
Okay.
They would.
And, abandonment may or may not come into question.
Yeah. All right, I move that the planning board proposed amendment number 2 for a legislative approval of 2016 town meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Catherine, you want to do amendment 3?
I don't have the fancy language.
No, you gotta read it first.
You have to read it, and Judy has the fancy, she just passed it to you.
Judy can do the fancy.
Number 3,
Yeah.
I move that the planning board propose amendment number 3.
Which is?
As, as proposed by the planning board for the town zoning ordinance to amend Article 4.32, establish that's a, do I have to read all of this?
Yes, please.
Establish that setbacks from lot lines running beneath roadways shall be measured from the edge of pavement, or shall correspond with a public right-of-way, whichever is more restrictive. And number 2, establish that other than signs, proposed items within the setback in commercial lots shall be permitted only through variance. The legislative approval at 2016 town meeting, something like that?
I second it. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I just to make sure that we do indeed have a member of the public here, and maybe on each of these, and maybe we should just go back and check, we should make sure that the public doesn't wanna have comment.
I
on
would like
each
to
one.
I have a question about that one.
Yes.
And it might be nothing, but, I was wondering about the public right of way. We have roads in which there's no right of way on the side, of the pavement. Is this?
When you have a prescriptive road that wasn't laid out by the selectmen, it's prescriptive because that's where the Indians walk, the oxen walk, the horses and the settlers and the blah, blah, blah. So if there's no layout of that road, it's hard to determine, is there a right of way? There probably isn't. So, hence the reason for this, because we've run across this in the past year on High Street.
Just
With
a good
this
example.
now
Good example.
Yeah,
You know, that section happened to be prescriptive. There's no real right of way. And the
And
code
there were-
enforcement
and there were-
officer has to be able to establish a setback. And then the question is, how much money does the town want to spend exactly to determine a right of way when there may not be one? So that will save people money and time and hardship.
Public, any other comment?
no, not on this one, Madam Chair.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? All right, this one, Judy.
Number 4. Amendment 4, the effect of the proposed amendment would be to comprehensively revise Article 14, Wetlands Conservation District,
All right.
Which was attached.
which was attached.
Yeah. I just want to enter this in. Kathy Mitchell sent Dari a note today, and this is what it says. I was just wondering if the proposed wetland definition in Article 14 precludes or can include forested wetlands as defined by DES, and then she's got their website. Just curious whether forested wetlands would be exempt from Tilton's wetland ordinances, and signed Kathy. It would not be exempt, to answer that question.
So she just wants to try to include it in definitions?
No, she just wanted to know if
Here's copies of that email, that
Yeah,
exchange, and you'll see at the top is my response to her. Yeah.
This, is this the attachment I have for that ordinance change for the wetlands?
Is this it?
Yeah,
That one?
I
yeah.
just have one page.
Well,
My
so
question is, it didn't seem like everything that we did.
here,
No.
Oh, you know what? I got it.
I was gonna say, it's
My, yeah, my
Like 6
computer did
pages.
something funky.
Okay.
okay.
So the back page of this is
Yeah.
actually the front page. I got it,
Oh,
all right.
okay.
So I'm good now, thank you.
All right.
I was a little confused for a minute.
Okay. I think, and just to add to the fact that I believe there were 24 or 26 points that the Conservation Commission brought up,
Correct.
and we addressed each of those. And the Conservation Commission was here that evening, and I think they were in agreement with how those were addressed. I think we included most of them. There were some good points in there. Okay. Somebody would like to make a motion?
Do you
Judy?
want to take the public
Well, after we make for discussion.
vote? Oh,
Let's see
okay.
if they-
I'll make a motion for a discussion.
No, for move that,
Oh.
and then,
That was a good response you made to that.
oh,
yeah,
thank you.
very good.
Thanks.
I make a motion that the the planning board proposed amendment number 4, as drafted, be brought for legislative approval at the 2016 town meeting.
All right, is any comments from the public?
No.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Is it my turn again? Amendment 5, prepared by the planning board. The effect of the proposed amendment would be to revise Article 2.1 definitions, to add definitions for the terms adjacent, bog, buffer, certified wetland scientist, hydric soils, surface waters, and vernal pools, and to revise definitions for the terms development and wetland. I move that the planning board propose amendment 5 for legislative approval at the 2016 town meeting.
Second.
Discussion? Public? All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah. Opposed? Amendment 6. Moving right along.
Yeah, I think we do need to talk about this one a little bit.
Amendment 6?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we do too, but you wanna,
Yeah, I'll start if you'd like.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we have before us
They're gonna
is.
bring it
then
to
if
the
she's
make
gonna make the
motion,
motion to bring it to the floor.
Okay.
Want me to say this or is it
Mhm.
4? I make a motion that the planning board propose amendment number 6 as drafted for legislative approval for the 2016 town meeting be brought to the floor.
Second? All right, any discussion? All right, Don.
So, what we have now before us is the signage ordinance that was put into place in 2003, following the 2003 town meeting. I think the feeling of the planning board is it's better, it matches more what is on the ground and what Tilton wants going forward than what is currently on the books. However, I think what maybe the board should do is go through, I sent out a document of changes that were made between 2003 and now, and I think there are some that we should consider, you guys should consider bringing back in.
Does anybody have that? I have it here somewhere.
I have it.
Yeah.
Does anyone need here?
I have it somewhere.
These are all
I
the-
just have to find it.
Previous time
Here, give it-
report
Yeah.
papers and all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you got it.
I don't know, I got a bunch of
I
stuff.
had it right here, Catherine. Oh, I've got 2 now.
Look, we got plenty.
Oh,
didn't
I got it.
I didn't,
I had it too, I just couldn't find it.
this time I printed everything. I wanted you guys to get home safe as quickly as possible.
We appreciate that.
So do you want me to go through them? Do you want me to read them off? or-
Are you suggesting to read us the ones you think we should consider?
I think that once we get past the 2003 page, I believe we're on to not that many. So yeah, I guess I would propose that.
Okay.
Because the 2003 page, the first page is all already in there.
Yeah.
I just included it so you guys could see what was done that year. But yeah, if we want to start with 2004, we look at number 18 there. I'm suggesting maybe that one we maybe stay away from. I was thinking that you guys might have something to say on this flagpoles, and I know there was a lawsuit. at
Yeah,
one
and that's
point.
probably where
Say
that
that the
came
courts
from.
do
It's probably not a bad idea, even though we have that ruling that was gonna be tractor, they wanted a flagpole 90 feet high. I was on the board at the time,
Yeah.
and we said no, because maximum structure height is 40 feet, residential neighbors in the back, clang, 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 noise, etc.
Yeah.
And we went in court.
So,
But,
sorry.
you know, we didn't have anything specifically that said flagpole height, so it's not a bad idea to consider.
So So it says, flagpoles for flying federal, state, military, or local flags are permitted up to the maximum structure height as depicted in the table of dimensional values. Flagpoles for flying commercial flags are limited to the sign, I'm sorry, I'll keep reading. Flagpoles for flying commercial flags are limited to the signage size and height regulations for each respective zoning district. Categories of local control for flagpoles include visual impact, aesthetics, and height restrictions. So, question is, should that be added to the 2003 ordinance for what's the board's going to propose?
Catherine, you were involved in the court.
Well, I'm looking at the one that says categories, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the main reasons that we cited for not having it was the noise. We have the, what they call it, the lanyard, clang, clang. I don't know if you ever heard the one at Hanger Outlet in the wind.
Yeah, I have.
So, but this says categories of local control doesn't include that.
So maybe add the word nuisance or something?
Yes, something that would be all encompassing.
Or-
I mean, I'm wondering if it's absolutely necessary because, you know, we have a ruling.
Right.
That allowed us to do what we did, but I suppose this would kind of close
Spell
the
it out.
door.
Yeah, I think-
There it is, black and white,
Yeah.
but. Isn't the first sentence really saying the same thing as the second, except it specifically says commercial flags? No, that's signage size.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess they're saying if it's a government flag or military
Yeah, I
flag,
think-
then you don't have to do the signage height,
Yeah.
size and height.
I see what it's,
so it's specifying federal, government and commercial.
You know, one concern I guess we could have with this would be that it runs into conflict with the, the content neutral idea, but,
Does it really though?
I don't, yeah.
I don't think it does.
I don't, and again, I don't think we're gonna find that that's as cut and dry as it was being
Yeah.
explained, yeah.
I think you have part of this belongs in signage, where you have, commercial flags, which are signage flags,
Yeah,
are part of your signage, but I think that's pretty clear in the signage, isn't it?
okay, yeah.
And the flagpoles are, the size of a flagpole should be, don't we have in our zoning a section for,
Structure height, yeah.
We do height,
poles, telephone,
yeah.
cell phone towers and whatnot?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know. After talking about it, I think that's one of those ones we should leave out for now and work on.
Okay.
Because I think this is really two parts. I don't know about anybody else.
What, leave out
Not include this year.
signage, you mean?
This article 1,
Article 18.
2.4 on the flagpole.
Okay. I see.
Unless you simply take the first sentence
For federal, state, and leave the part on
and then the
commercial.
last sentence.
Oh,
I think the middle sentence is taken care of in the signage, isn't it?
yeah.
It's advertising.
So, that's, yeah, it would say, and there would just be a section, and it's really maybe just considered information. Flagpoles for flying federal, state, military, or local flags are permitted up to the maximum structure height as depicted in the table of dimensional values. Categories of local control for flagpoles include visual impact, aesthetics, nuisance, and height restrictions. You guys want to go with that?
Say that again.
All right. So we would add to the ordinance, flagpoles for flying federal, state, military, or local flags are permitted up to the maximum structure height as depicted in the table of dimensional values. And then go right to categories of local control for flagpoles include visual impact, aesthetics, nuisance, and height restrictions. maybe you could even leave off that last sentence and just go with the first sentence.
I mean, the thing about it is, and I just look at, it says here in 2.3.1, the last sentence, signage shall also include banners, commercial flags. So that middle sentence is already taken care of in this ordinance.
So I don't think we
So this
even
isn't
need
part of
that.
signage.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna put this in, we're gonna be putting that in someplace other than signage, I
Oh,
think.
well,
So I'd
that,
leave it out for now.
okay,
I'm back to leaving it out.
yeah. What do you guys think about that? What's everybody think about that? Just not bringing that number 18 in at all. Because it's, as Catherine's saying, if it's
already
a flag
covered.
that's considered a sign, it's already in there. And if
Yeah.
it's a flag that's not considered a sign, why are we talking about it in the signage ordinance?
Exactly. I agree with that.
Okay.
I thought we had a section in here on, yeah, there it is. Cellular communications. That's very specific. I don't know where would you put it?
Yeah, alright. If we brought that in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it probably doesn't matter too much, because it's really, again, it's kind of just a piece of information.
It's case law now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So it sounds like the planning board is leaning toward not bringing that part in. Is that right?
I don't know.
I'd vote no. Do you think there's other issues that,
No, I think not having that in there is probably fine. Yeah.
What is this one? There's
That-
so many here now that I'm like, this one was never
That's the one
covered.
that's coming back.
That's the one that is the document that you guys are considering proposing at town meeting that it be adopted, the way it's gonna be
So that
presented.
encompasses all of these.
No.
no?
Okay, so, yeah, that ordinance that you guys are gonna put forth was what was on the books following 2003 town meeting. Now, what we're going through right now is changes that were made between 2003 and now.
And now.
The reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted us to go through the exercise of saying, all right, well, if we're gonna go all the way back to the way it was in 2003, we better at least look at the work the town did to change it between now and then, to make sure that none of that should, make sure that we don't wanna be retaining some of that stuff. And if we're ready to move on to the next one, this is one that I believe should be retained. If you look at the
First page.
mixed use and, right, it's a 2.3.10.1 in the proposed ordinance, mixed use, MU and MR. The last line says exception, in the MU district, any business that fronts, wait a minute,
The one I have says allowed 40 square feet of freestanding, and this one says
yeah,
meet the same standards set forth in the regional, commercial, and resort, commercial, and general commercial districts. So making it general from 40 square feet.
oh, no, what, so, wait a minute, what did you just show me, Judy? Yeah, this is what's on the books now.
The 2.3,
This is what,
No, okay,
I'm opening it.
yeah, that's the same as what you did.
Damn.
and that one says,
down here, it says the 40
right,
square feet.
right, but whereas if you look at the new one, the one that we have now, it says, yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong. The one that's on the books now has this language. Instead of just saying 40 feet, it says, it's not just that element of the RC, RG, and GC districts that we're gonna bring in. We're gonna bring all the, so if you're on, let's say where Fire and Stone is, the way it is now is they basically, even though they're in the mixed use district, they get to use the the RG, RC, and GC signage regulations, rather than just pulling in that one little piece of it, saying you can do the 40 square feet. It's saying you can do the whole thing. I recommend that be accepted, and that be pulled back in.
Okay.
So, this is what we're proposing to adopt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yes, and I'm saying
On
let's.
this size.
Yeah.
That's what
I
we're
wanna
working
read
with
178 Lucy's. So if they weren't fronting along Route 3 and 11, they would be able to put up not more than 40 square feet. And for square feet of signage is allowed. And what is MUMR?
It's on the other side.
12 square.
RG, RC, and GC is what you're gonna restrict them to, right?
If they're on
Because that's what it says.
Route
in
3 and
there.
11. So if you're in the mixed use district and you're on Route 3 and 11, you get to use the RG, RC, and GC signage regulations.
I have a quick question. Since we use this as an example, MB Tractor technically doesn't front Route 3 and 11.
Okay.
What would they have to fall, what would they fall back to in this?
MB Tractor is in the
Are they in that?
regional commercial district,
Okay.
right? So they're not in the mixed use district, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just don't know what
I see what you're saying.
Because
Okay.
technically they don't front
Right,
Route
right.
3,
Yeah, I
they're
don't.
behind whatever it's called.
So I'm saying, you know, the town in
Part of
2004
front-
said,
It's hard to.
rather than
I don't know
just
what
saying
you
you,
call that.
you get this one little piece of the RG, RC, and GC regulations, that you get the, you move to the whole thing. And I think that's the better way to go.
What is the benefit of having all the properties along Route 3 and 11 being the same as RG, RC, and GC?
I guess that there's commercial activity similar to RG, RC, and GC, and that there's a desire to give those businesses the same competitive, you know, the same advertising.
So they'd actually get a bigger sign. One identification sign not exceeding 12 feet. RG, RC, GC is 40 square feet.
Right.
And they've got more than one tenant, so it's to the benefit of those commercial properties, isn't it?
Right.
1,000 square feet, yeah.
Any,
As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, there is. 2.3.4, mixed use and medium density. Right in the first sentence, one unlighted nameplate or sign not exceeding 1 and 1.5 square feet. Now, is that
No.
2.5 square feet, or are you gonna change that to
That's a
a half?
mistake. That's a mistake. Thank you. It should say not exceeding 1.5 square feet.
So the 1 and is deleted,
Is a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
just curious. Good thing the public was here tonight.
Yeah,
Sure is.
thank you.
Joe Public said today.
Oh, public.
now is he really public since he's the alternate?
Yes,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
he's,
public
He's
now.
seated out there.
I'm public now.
he's the ex officio alternate, and there can only be one
Oh,
ex officio
So,
selected,
I'm
so.
public.
He's public.
It's Joe Public.
So do I have it right that on this page here, 18 is not going to be brought in, 19 is going to be brought in? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
On 2.3.1, it says signage shall also include banners, commercial flags, under the definition, I'm assuming. So are we saying that now banners, commercial flags, and inflatable signs are okay?
I think I think it's to say that they're included as signs. They're
They can be
probably at some
regulated.
point said, this isn't a sign, it's a banner. And so the town said, all right, we gotta make clear that a banner is a sign. That's my guess.
2006.
Um, So I'll go on, 2006, number 2. Are you in favor of amending Article 2.3.2 of the Tilton zoning ordinance to prohibit signs which are animated, blinking, flashing, or fluttering, or other illuminating devices which have a changing light intensity, brightness, or color? I'll just leave the conversation by saying the zoning board gets this all the time, and they're very regularly approving variances for animated signs, so.
Hey, it says interior animated moving signs are prohibited. That passed.
Yeah.
I mean, the townspeople don't want them.
Yeah.
For some reason, the zoning board does. I think.
I asked the zoning
I think
board,
we should
and they
leave it.
said that because there are some out there,
Yeah.
they felt that it would be,
Discriminatory.
what's the word I'm looking for? Punitive against those other businesses not to be able to have one as well. That was the reasoning they stated to me.
I'm waiting for that moving egg sign.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna have a chicken going.
I was gonna say, yeah.
You ever driven into
That's what I'm
Cheyenne,
talking
Wyoming, the cowboy?
You'll have to raise the price of the eggs, Captain.
Substantial.
Oh, okay.
Or chickens.
I say leave it prohibited, that's what the people want.
Bring it back in, you're saying?
Well, it's
Or-
already in this.
Well-
Like, am I looking at the wrong one? Animated and moving signs are prohibited.
That's in the downtown district.
So we don't have it generally in this.
It appears not. And I will say that, in talking with code enforcement, he was in favor of leaving it out because of the fact that it feels like a difficult, it's difficult to enforce, it's difficult for him to tell people you can't do that. I imagine most people not familiar with Tilton zoning who drive through Tilton assume that they're permitted in Tilton because of what they see when they drive through Tilton, so.
Well, the hard thing is you have somebody who, well, this is an example right across the street in the laundromat. They have an open sign that moves. It's small,
So does Polly's.
but it moves. They're small signs. I think what this was designed to do, because I was on the board at the time, was to eliminate those signs that are distracting to motorists. That are out on the road, that are, like, it's a big cowboy.
big
Hey,
chicken.
wow, there was a chicken. Oh, look at that sign. That's what it was designed to prohibit, so. I don't think the open sign on the door of the laundromat is gonna distract a motorist. They shouldn't be looking over there anyway, because that's not looking straight ahead.
Coming down School Street.
Yeah, but you stop, it's outside.
Hopefully.
Not tonight.
So, I don't know how to be Solomon and do both, but clearly, the residents didn't want this to turn into the carnival area that exit 20 is. They wanted it to, and the feeling was at the time, exit 20 was really pretty well built out. So, since you got the zoning board giving it away, I don't think we're gonna.
I think it gets confusing because you got certain places that it's, grandfathered in and places it's not, so it does give an unfair.
And maybe we should
That's
just
what
look
they
at
say.
it the way
I
this
see it.
is. This
And I
is. And go, okay, in our downtown district, we don't want it to turn into carnival, that's what it says. They're prohibited,
Yeah.
but when you get into Route 3, exit 20,
Oxysoxa.
it's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe just leave it like this and prohibit them in the downtown area.
Well, look at Cumberland Farms, if they have an illuminated,
Hmm?
they have an illuminated sign at Cumberland Farms.
Well, that's been there for, that was pre-zoning,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
no?
They used
No.
to have to hand change it. That wasn't that long
It's only a
ago.
few years.
Yeah.
Because I mean, AutoServe, their sign was there pre-zoning when they updated it. I I'd leave it in for the downtown area, so it doesn't turn honky-tonk.
All right, so leave it as the 2003 had it.
I don't know,
That's
what does the rest of the
I'm
board
with
think?
that agreement on
I
Yeah.
agree.
Just keep it for downtown.
Except out at exit 20, the horse already is all scuttling around, barn door, not closed.
No?
No, liquor.
And it probably shouldn't either, because, you know, that's exit 20, circus anyway.
It's already.
Yeah.
What is a few more gonna?
All right,
Okay, next one, are you in favor of amending, approving static electronic message board signs with message changes limited to a minimum of every 60 seconds? That's something that's been in recent zoning board decisions saying, okay, we're gonna grant you a variance for a changing sign, but it can't change more than once per minute. So that generally, if you're driving by, it's a static sign. If it does change, it's gonna change once as you drive by, and that's it.
Does it matter?
Find a sign that's not changing under a minute, they're all
Right.
changing
Well,
in 30 seconds.
the fire and stone sign was
Walgreens.
told that they're not allowed to change
Walgreens.
once per minute, and when I drove by it, it changed, once during the time I drove by it, so it looks like they're adhering to that, but, probably something that's difficult to enforce, and, I'm not sure it matters, I don't know, zoning board seems to think it matters, but I'm not interested in any,
I don't see why it matters. If you've got a moving sign, what does it matter how fast it moves?
that's right.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
It's
If it doesn't move, if
If
it
you
doesn't
have
move fast
fireworks
enough,
going off and stuff like that, it's distracting to the drivers. If you have a message, you have a sign with a message on it, okie dokie, and it changes once a minute from sale on beer to sale on,
well, once a minute, you can have those fireworks go off.
but it can't keep flashing a different message.
What is the matter with the different message? I mean, if I'm
It's
going along and I
distracting to a
see
driver,
and I
that's
see
what
they
that's
all
what it
are.
is.
If I see a sign and there's the first message, I'm gonna have to stop so I can read the rest of the message. And you know what? As a driver, I shouldn't be reading the message in the first place because I'm driving.
But like, floor show,
They're notorious over
their
there.
sign
Just keeps going
it's
and
just changed
going.
now to say that they're approved for something, the land's approved for, I can't read it though, because I can't.
That sign was there pre-zoning.
Or, and then,
He was
green,
one first.
green sign,
What, brings up, yeah.
yeah, their sign changes pretty regularly.
I mean, you leave Laconia and you go into Belmont, hello, drive down Route 3 there, you know?
That thing is, like,
So, what does it really matter? To me, it doesn't, I don't know about the rest of you.
Seems like the
Doesn't
residents of the town of Tilton didn't want them at all. Never mind the signs that are changing every 3 seconds.
well, let's get
Well,
this.
that failed.
Yeah.
Are you in favor of amending Article 2.3.2 of the Tilton zoning ordinance, blah, 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 and it
Oh,
failed?
true,
You
true.
probably thought it was pretty much of an oxymoron.
Hmm.
I don't want them at all, so why would they say?
Oh, yeah, I should mention that from the beginning, that's okay, yeah, that failed.
Yeah.
I guess. So the town did speak on that one, I guess.
There you go.
So, does the board want to not bring that one in and just say, no moving signs in downtown other than that, where you can have moving signs? We don't particularly see a benefit to limiting it.
Well, this was 2003,
Six.
6, oh, okay.
Yeah,
And yet the town passed that one, 258 to 153.
Well, I
We're on
mean,
number
no,
3.
you're talking about 2006, this is 2015.
Number 3.
yeah, number 3.
Number 3 failed.
Number 3 failed. That's the flashing sign.
The one above it is,
Tabs with the blinking,
they can't be animated, they can't be blinking, they can't be flashing or fluttering or anything else.
And with the new LEDs, is that something to consider? Because those are bright.
well,
What did the code enforcement officer say about it? Anything?
he, you know, I think maybe sort of, well, is it really, I guess he was questioning the value, the value in having that restriction, given A, what's already on the ground, and B, the way it's being addressed, the fact that people are getting these variances. And so he was saying, really, is there really a point to me enforcing this regulation that's, you know, it's really, he feels maybe on an island, you know, he's enforcing this regulation that, you know, he's telling people they can't do something that their neighbors are doing, and he's telling people something they can't do that the zoning board is telling people that they, you know, is allowing people to do.
That's the trouble.
You know, that's the issue.
You know, and perhaps I should have started by saying, started this whole discussion of amendment number 6 by saying the planning, you guys have a variety of options in front of you on how to deal with this. You know, we have the whole Dan Crean information that came in, probably, you know, very useful information that came in, maybe a little later than we needed it in order to really grab a hold of it and bring it into something to propose to town meeting. You know, if planning board's really, if you guys are feeling really nervous about making such a drastic change to the signage ordinance within such a short time frame, you know, maybe we should talk about what our different options are. Obviously, one of them being let's withdraw amendment number 6 and leave the signage as it is for now and try and work more on it for a year. That's obviously an option. I don't want to halt this discussion, and we obviously can continue going through these, but maybe it's something to keep in the back of your mind as we're going through, saying, you know, are we really ready to go forward?
Well, I think our intention is to put it back before
Right.
this
Yeah.
convoluted thing, which,
Right.
you know, as you said in the beginning, what we've already got. And then work on this, which will be much easier, I think,
Yep.
going forward.
Yep.
And that's how I feel, and that's why I thought we were doing it.
Okay.
And then,
Just wanna
and then we can,
reestablish that.
then we can address the court case and the
Yeah.
suggestions Dan Green made and so
Right.
on.
Yep.
If we get rid of the Concord
Yeah.
ordinance.
Just, I guess the reason it came to my mind right here at this moment, and said, oh gosh, I should have brought this up earlier, is that here we're talking about something, you know, potentially controversial, animated blinking flashing signs, something that people have been told now for several years that they can't do, although
They've
people
done
are
it.
They're
finding
making
ways to do it.
variances to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
even though
true.
they're told no here, they go to
Right.
the zoning board and they
Right.
say yes,
That's
and
true.
there's their sign.
That's a good point.
So I mean, the only thing here
That's a
is,
good point.
is how quickly they move.
Right. Yeah. All right. So back to number 3. What is the board's desire on that? Do we know yet, or do we need to discuss that more?
I don't care how quickly they move.
I don't care
What does the
either.
rest of the board
It
think?
doesn't bother me one bit the way or the other.
What do you think?
I don't pay attention to them.
We said yes
I
for
don't
putting
think
in
most
number
people
2, right?
No.
We're not.
We were gonna leave this the way it is with no motion lights in the downtown area, no animated moving sign. But animated moving signs are prohibited in the downtown
In the
district.
downtown district.
Correct.
Does that mean it's a free-for-all
What
everywhere
about
else?
this number 2? No, we're not putting that.
We're not putting that in because it's this one that we're passing says animated moving signs prohibited in the downtown district. Hopefully the zoning board will not give amendments to that one. Wouldn't that be awful? But I can't think of the, you know, agriculture's about the only one that there isn't.
Mm.
I guess up in the Casey's and the industrial there isn't, but
Yep.
they're out there everywhere else. RGIC and GC will have them.
Yeah.
all right.
What about village residential district? Do we wanna prohibit them there? I mean,
So,
you can't have a business there, can you? Can you have a, home business in VR?
oh, geez, well, yeah, home business. You know, if you look at commercial, it's down the line, not permitted.
Yes, is unlighted sign. So would that matter?
Home business is permitted.
Unlighted signs.
Unlighted nameplate or sign.
So if they're not lit.
Okay, so they're not lit anyway.
Yeah,
It's blank.
right, right.
So it's unlighted.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate that though.
So they can
Thanks
have
for
a
covering me.
mechanically moving one or something,
Yeah,
right?
alright,
That's
so
not-
that's covered, that's the only, those are the only two that we can think of.
Yeah. So, 3 is a no, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, prohibiting advertising of off-premises business. But I don't understand that, because 2.3.2 says off-premise signs are not permitted.
Correct.
So it's covered, I don't know how that was voted, I don't know, something was, for some reason that was voted on in
6.
2006, but it's
Yeah.
already in there, as far as I can tell, off-premise signs are not permitted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. There's another one that seems to have that same thing. Okay, are you, number 5, are you in favor changing the word tenant to business in the signage description for the commercial district? I feel like that's another one that already was in there.
Yeah, it says any business.
Yeah, so again, I'm not sure how that happened, but it's already in there, so let's not worry about that. Okay. 2008, I don't know that we can really address. I mean, it's everything. It's,
Yeah, I think that's.
yeah, I think we need to just pass that. And then 11 on the back. No signage located on any roof or any part of the roof structure. Again, right
Roof signs
after.
are prohibited.
Right, so it's already there. So now there's a couple things I need to go over. So let's take mixed use, MR. All right, one, and I'll start reading. 1 unlighted nameplate or sign not exceeding 1.5 square feet. Thanks again, Joe, for getting that mistake out of there. An area for each dwelling unit indicating the name of the occupant or use of the premises. 1 identification sign not exceeding 12 square feet. Everything's fine so far. In an area for buildings other than dwelling, and then church bulletin board. It's separated out by semicolons. Then it goes on to an unlighted sign or signs appertaining to the prospect. I don't understand what the word church bulletin board is doing in there. I don't understand what it's saying. It looks like it's not.
It was targeted, it was a target action.
It's.
That's
I mean,
what
it's
that whole-
not.
that was
It's
that
not a
whole decision
sentence.
was
It's not even a
based on.
phrase. It's just a term that's stuck in and delimited by semicolon. I don't even understand what's going on. So.
What
I
church
guess-
was it?
Oh, fuck off, Kim.
I'm thinking to just cross that out, and
Yes.
anywhere where you see church bulletin board, just get it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's there, it's in VR, it's in, but I guess that's it.
There's nothing in anywhere else that explains that?
Not that I see.
That's really
So
weird.
yeah, maybe a good example of reactionary zoning changes without a, well, anyway.
Wouldn't the church bulletin board be that sign in front of the church that says services at 10 o'clock, Sunday school, out back, that kind of thing? Isn't that a church bulletin board?
I guess so, but what I'm saying here is it doesn't say whether they're allowed or not. It just says church bulletin board. It's just like, what? like,
I'm in favor of taking it out.
okay.
I am too,
All right.
it's inappropriate, I think.
And then, here's something, then, if you go on, the unlighted sign or signs appertaining to the prospective rental or sale of the property on which said sign or signs are located. I believe there are some people who are, you know, following this recent court case who would say that needs to come out of there. I'm not so sure about that. I would be, I guess, willing to leave that in there.
I think,
Yeah, I mean.
For now, let's,
Yeah. If it, I mean, I don't see that. Okay. So then, there are two things that the code enforcement officer brought up. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to grab a note on it.
anyway.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
so close.
He wanted to propose that a business be allowed, or I shouldn't say a business, an entity of any, party of any type, I guess, be permitted to get a permit for temporary off-premises signage, limited to 2 signs, so you can put one on one end of town, one on the other, say, for 15 days. And they would get a permit for that, and it would be a $10 per sign fee.
No,
Okay.
Off-premise signs are not permitted.
and it will not get enforced, and it will be a cluster.
Okay. The other
My
one
opinion.
was to allow feather or pennant signs. I'm not sure if those are not clearly prohibited here. So this may not. And he was saying 1 per business, and they have to renew every year, $20 fee. I'm not sure how well that fits in with what we're working with
Freestanding.
right now.
Signs intended to promote and advertise the business proposed shall not exceed the specifications established for their respective district. So it doesn't restrict them. Signage shall also include banners, commercial signs, and inflatable signs.
But that's part of their square footage, right?
That's part of their signage alone.
Um,
So you're saying to allow,
well,
what is the restriction he
I
said?
mean, I'm not sure how it, like I said, I think it fits maybe better in with what we've got on the books today. He was saying to
Excuse me.
only allow feather signs, pennant signs, if they have to renew their permit every year at a $20 fee. I'm not sure, now that I look at it, how that exactly would fit in.
I mean, right now, if I owned the store, I could take banners of the American flag, and I could put as many of them out there as I want. Right? You can't stop someone from displaying the American flag unless it's 90 feet. It's not advertising the business, it's not saying open.
It was drawing attention to
So
it.
now it's not signage, it's a flag.
Yep.
So, how do you,
But didn't we have that same argument with them, too?
no,
And they said, we're fine.
no, they wanted a 90-foot tall structure. We didn't say they couldn't fly a flag. We were very careful not to say that.
They had one somewhere, a structure like that. I've got pictures of it. One of their stores, I think.
Yes, it's down in the
Chichester or someplace. down
southern
there.
part.
Yeah, I have pictures of it. It's huge.
There's one on Route 4 in Chichester at the
The Campers World?
Campers World.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's ginormous.
It's enormous. If that ever let go,
I think that's not something we
Hopefully-
should shove through tonight. I think
Yeah.
that's a,
that's a work on.
bring it.
So for next year, you're
Right.
saying,
I
okay.
think that's a work
So-
on.
Okay, so I think that's all that I wanted to bring forward on signage. Unless, if there's more, I don't want to interrupt that, but I will say, I think the planning board has to decide, we have to decide, I guess, whether enough changes, significant enough changes have been made to the signage ordinance tonight to require a second public hearing. When I go over what we change, I would say it's not significant.
Some of what we found was already in there.
Right, most of it was already in there. Joe found a sort of a grammatical error.
Yeah.
And we're bringing in, really the most significant change is to say that in the mixed-use district, if you're on 3 and 11, rather than, it's a very small change really, you're saying not just the 40 feet you get the whole gamut of
It's not restrictive.
RC,
Bundle.
RG, GC
Right.
stuff, yeah.
It's not more restrictive, it's more.
So if,
Familiar?
sorry, what?
I
So
said
I
it's
don't-
not restrictive, it's more permissive.
Yeah, right.
So I don't think we need to have a
I
second.
don't know.
Okay.
Everybody agree with that? Do I have a
Yes.
Second?
So any more on signage? Okay, so I guess we're back to the motion, a motion, I guess, if perhaps you're ready for a motion. Chairman, I'm sorry, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, we're ready for a
Okay.
motion. I move that the planning board propose amendment 6. The effect of the proposed amendment would be to amend Article 2.3 signage to rescind amendments made since 2003, as well as other minor changes for legislative approval at the 2016 town meeting. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Opposed? And I didn't include the public because they left.
But he was, yeah, we clearly, the record shows he was participating in the discussion on
Then,
that.
yeah. Anyhow,
Do you want, I don't know how bad it is out there, but
how bad
minutes
is it,
are
anybody
optional.
know?
It's slick.
All right,
Slick
why don't
cut.
we, the only thing that we have,
Approve these minutes.
minutes, and I don't think we have much in the way of correspondence, let me see.
Just a Belmont agenda, that it's related to Best Way, it's not. Oh, there is that.
You know, there's a wetlands permit application for off Mill Street,
For where?
off Mill Street,
For the dam?
yeah.
For the dam
That's
dam?
it, yeah. Yeah. So that's their application. And then the planning board in Belmont, there's a public hearing for the Casella Waste Management, and Kenneth and Cheryl Ellis request for a boundary line adjustment, so that's not really anything. She's the trash lady of New Hampshire,
Yeah.
LLC. Okay, so that's just a boundary issue. That's it. And did everybody have a chance to go through over the minutes?
There was 3 of them, wasn't
Mhm.
Yeah, 3 different dates. And I don't have those dates, because,
December 8th, 15th, and 22nd.
yeah. Has everybody had a chance to review them? I'll entertain a motion to accept them as written.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye, opposed, okay. So done, all right? And the next entertainment I will do is to do you know what.
Motion to adjourn?
it? Second.
All in favor? Aye,
Aye,
opposed?
aye.
Drive safely, please. And Judy, and turn that off so
Sorry,
you can
guys.
tell me what.
You know, as soon as I say it, you'll go, oh yeah.
Hold on, I got the other.
I got the VHS tapes of the minutes of that meeting.